Hello, people of the planet. Welcome back to my channel. This is Port Charles Public Radio, brought to you by me. Brought to you by Aurora Media, who is me. I'm your host. My name is Abby. Can we talk about Monday? Today, there were 15 people on. That includes Dead Body Kirk, because they paid him for that day. I guess if you want to include the gunman, that was somebody. Why don't we make that, number 16. There are 16 people if you include him. I'm not going to include that waitress because she hasn't spoken yet. We'll put her in tomorrow's episode. I'm sure she'll speak then. So, Julian got shot in the back but ran and was nowhere to be seen. It's not like there was blood on the ground, so I think it's safe to assume he has a bulletproof vest on. He was smart and put one on probably after the whole thing with Ava. He managed to get one. He's in New York City. He probably got one somewhere on his drive there because they were waiting on him there. So, I mean, he took off. Sonny was shooting. Jason showed up. Oh, where's Julian? And then they showed up at a bar and they were talking. And then if we clip to what could have been going on at the same time, Cyrus got a phone call during that and said just a little hiccup that we can't mix. And yeah, Jason was right. It wasn't a gun going for him. It was or Sonny. It was going for Julian. So the hiccup that Cyrus was talking about was probably Julian. They're tracing him. Hiccup. We can't scratch or whatever. They'll find him is what he's trying to say, I think. Not that he was trying to go after Sonny and Jason, or they are the hiccup. The hiccup was they didn't actually. Julian disappeared, and the gunman died. Yeah, that's what it was. Sorry, my hands down here. I sit at this desk all day with my knees crossed, so then the tops of my kneecap start to really hurt. The ligaments or tendons or whatever around my knees hurt all the time. And so like I'm down here with my legs stretched out and I'm just like working at my legs, like working at my knees because they hurt. I'm thinking now, Liesl and Kirk, man, Scott kills this man, he runs away, and then she shows up and tells them, yeah, I want to take a look at this, I'm a doctor. And he's like, well, since when are you a neurospecialist? And she says, I was a director of psyche of the mind, psychology facility of the mind, psychology whatever, some German facility or Dutch, wherever she's from. So she knows shit about the brain. I guess that's what her study is. She has a bunch of studies, but like brain might have been Liesl's specialty. Or what was her specialty? Because I think Britt was always a pediatrician, if I'm not mistaken. That's how she was able to do the whole in vitro thing to herself. I don't know. So we're just gonna go with it. And she was talking out with Franco just like Kirk already did, and she's now aware that Drew's brain is back in Franco. He's like got some peeps of Frank and Drew, or not Frank and Drew. He's got peeps of Drew and Peter's conversation about things, which I don't remember Drew thinking about. Those are things that Drew might have lost. And I don't know, Frank and Drew really remembered them, if he remembered Peter at all, so knew him. I can't remember any of that. All that was so convoluted. But here we are now, we're trying to figure it out. And on trying to figure shit out, can we talk about the stupid story that Tracy gave about finding Alexis? She said, I drove her home. I thought about leaving her there and calling a car, but I decided against it. So I walked inside the house to get her a cup of coffee. Started to make her coffee. I couldn't find it. So I came back out to ask her where her coffee was. And when I came back, she had already driven off. So I came after her and found her here. I think is what her story was. I don't remember. It was kind of dumb. I know my subtitles set on my live TV, which is stupid annoying. So I was unable to follow it correctly, but I'm kind of proud of Alexis for like not taking the breathalyzer because she was like, I shouldn't be arrested right now because I wasn't driving a car. I fell asleep in a car, which I think you can get a ticket for like public intox. It depends on where you are, you know. In Texas, where I used to live, it was like if you are sleeping in a parked car that is not on, keys are not in the ignition, or the car is not on. Like if the battery is on, doesn't count. If the car is off, period, and you're sleeping in it, and a cop comes up to you and like checks if you're sober, you'll get a public intoxication. But if the car is on, battery, keys in the ignition, kind of, any proof that it was on, proof that you may have driven or that you did drive and that you are under the influence. That is a DWI. So today we learned that in the state of New York, they don't use the DWI, DUI. They go by DWI and DWAI. DWAI, I did some Googling because I was like, is this some bullshit? Because Tracy even said, what the hell is that? She'd never heard of it before. Chase explained it right. 0.05 to 0.07 is a DWAI alcohol. That's when you get that. And there's DWAI drugs. So they make you take a toxicology report to determine which one you are under. If it's alcohol, that's your limit. And if it's alcohol, this is a violation. This is a moving violation, the DWAI. It is not a misdemeanor or a felony. This is what I learned. And it's like the lowest offense. So, because it's moving violation. So, like, you really lose nothing by going to court over it. If you, like, don't plead guilty to it. But, I mean, if you do, it's whatever. But if you don't, there's no judge or there's no jury. So you just like have a judge you could talk to about it, and you can prove why you weren't driving impaired. And she could prove she didn't drive, or she can say she wasn't driving. Her car was on. So we're going to find out. She had 2 drinks before Tracy got there, and then a third after she got there. So she had already had 3. And now she slept a little bit. She's on the side of the road, talked to questions. She's going to get to it'll take a minute before she, like maybe an hour, I guess, in between her last drink and now. Maybe her blood alcohol went down a little bit. Like, that might have bought her some time to drive with Chase and get booked. But, like, she got nothing to lose to, like, fight this one. That's what she's doing. That's, I guess, smart to do if I was her. Got nothing but time. Tracy seemed to think that, like, calling the police and saying, hey, this person needs help. I think she was driving drunk. It's a wake-up call. Slap her on the wrist and send her to rehab. was what was gonna happen. Like, no, bitch, you call the police, people go to jail, or they lose their lives, like, or they get like what? They either get killed, shot, or arrested, or like given moving violations most of the time. They don't cops don't come out to just help. I mean, they do, but like they're not firefighters in that sense. They're not helping cats out of the tree. I mean, I think back in the day you could call cops to help you get your keys unlocked out of a car, but they can't do it anymore. I remember when I first got a car, I called and they're like, "We're not supposed to do this anymore, but we'll do it. This is probably the last year you can get away with doing this." And I called cops like twice, and then like a couple years later, couldn't do it anymore. So like, there's not a lot of good Samaritan shit that goes on when you call a cop. They don't just like take people to rehab, is what I'm getting at. Like they don't. Sometimes they take drunk people home, but like normally they arrest them. They do background checks and they're like, oh, you have a warrant out for your arrest. Like they've done that. Pulled over to help a guy with a flat tire, and they do a background check on the guy, and they're like, "Oh, you have a warrant out for your arrest. Come on, son, let's go." Like just like that. Like, come on, Tracy. Ugh, I don't know. That could just be my bias against the whole situation of just like calling the cops and seeing if that'll work and help. That's not gonna help, Tracy. Anyway, that was my soapbox for that. Maxie had a heart to heart with Sasha, and I can't believe she tried to go after Cyrus and like immediately following that. That was her response to Maxie telling her these are all the demands of the company. Sorry, I'm turning on my heater. That's come on, Sasha. Like, why are you to go why are you gonna go first off, why are you gonna go sit with the man and flirt with him and talk with him like immediately following that meeting? Like, no, that's not the best thing to do. It doesn't look good, even if like you're like, oh, we're still just gonna be friends, or I'm here to like blackmail him. Like, no, it just doesn't look good. Don't hang out. You're done. You're just stop it. Go home, take a bubble bath and cry, and drink a lot of water, and do anything you can to stay away from drugs. And make your face look pretty, deception wise, and make all your food delivered to you because you are under the app. Like, no, you right? I can't remember. Sorry, what you were talking about. Like, she needs to. Sorry, Patricia. Like, what am I right about? Like, no, I'm right. Like, sorry, Sasha. You need to just go home. Stop it. Doesn't look good. Oh, are you talking about the cop? The Good Samaritan thing about the cops? That's maybe that's it. With Tracy. Tracy dumb, thinking like, oh, cop would just come and help. What? Oh, you can kind of see the pink in New York right now. Our sunsets are beautiful, by the way. Where was I? Sasha, go home. Deal with the fact that you, the Good Samaritan cop, right? So yeah, that stuff. Yeah. So Sasha, go home. Anyway, and like, calm your face, get your life together. That's what you need to do. She's like refusing to admit that she's a drug addict because she hasn't felt withdrawals or the idea of like wanting drugs, because right now she doesn't want drugs. She just used it as a crutch, and she's ashamed to even admit. She doesn't like to say it out loud. She said it a couple times, so like she's used it as a crutch. When she says it, she's like meek and quiet about it. Doesn't want to look at you when she says it, but like, girl, step one is acceptance. Like, you got to go down this trickery path. And like Maxie tried to explain to her, are you sure you want to take this contract? where we drug test you every week and you agree to whatever food and drink we give you. Of course, you're going to get what you want, but we just have to make sure no one's slipping anything in your food or in your bags of food. Like when it gets on set and when it gets to the office, and it's like, you really don't trust me? Like professionally, no, you can't. If you show up to work high looking, we get to drug test you then and there. But if you haven't been showing up to work high and you've been getting away with doing it away from the job, like we gotta need proof that you aren't. We still gonna drug test you when you're not, like, once a week, like, because being a drug addict, you get one chance to fuck up. I think when it comes to drug and alcohol, people always get second chances. Jobs will give them second chance. Some jobs, you can have a DUI, you get arrested, I worked at the Cheesecake Factory, and a friend of mine didn't show up to work one day, didn't call in because they got arrested. Came to work the following, it was like a Saturday. Their next shift was Monday. No, their next shift was like Tuesday, because they sat in jail Saturday, Sunday, Monday. They went to work on Tuesday. And the manager, they told him, like, why didn't they came 15 minutes earlier, and they're like, hey, why didn't you show up on Saturday? Where you been? Like, I got arrested. I've been sitting in Harris County for 3 days, which is like a largest county in Texas. So yeah, if you get arrested, no matter what, you're sitting for 3 days. Just no matter what, you're gonna sit for 3 days until you get to see a judge, and that's how long it takes to just process to get bailed, bonds and all of it. So determinations and whatnot. Just be prepared to sit at least a day. At least. This was back when they were doing for like drugs, picking up people for pot is what they were on the drugs thing, the dare scare, and considering pot as drugs. Houston's kind of rolled back on that, and they're not going to pick you up for things like that anymore and sentence people, which is good because that's fucking ridiculous. Like making people sit, like I said, for at least 3 days, just filling up jails. It's fucked up. Since we're talking about drugs, let's move on to Britt and Cyrus. Before Sasha threw all herself up on Cyrus, he had a conversation with Britt and said he had a drug being cooked up in the pharmacy. Or in the lab, one of the two. He said the lab or whatever, but the pharmacy was working on getting it approved, whatever. A new pain reliever pharmaceutical that's supposed to help people. That was pretty much all he said. And Britt went, So with this new drug, it's great that you guys found, but is the hospital incentivized to prescribe it? Because that's not really in the best of care. That turns into marketing for drugs, and I'm about care, human quality health care towards the greater good of people, not marketing drug consumption to sick people for monies for you, as most doctors, I hope, are. That's the problem, not just with drugs, illegal drugs and drug dealers, but pharmaceuticals and sales reps and pill pushers and whatnot. People hate bankers, dude. You should hate prescription pharmaceutical sales rep people. You should hate people who throw up all those talk to your doctor about Zofran, blah, 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 and pay Khloe Kardashian to sell a migraine commercial during General Hospital, because all I see is fucking prescription and pill things when I'm watching soap operas, because the demographic that they think that they're marketing to is somebody who wants drugs, because I'm old, right? I need a bunch of drugs, and all I have is time to sit around all day and watch TV and see ads about drugs that I could ask my doctor to prescribe to me, and they'll do it because money. Yeah. So Britt was not into that. And I don't even know how that ended. I forgot. I think Cyrus and her, he was just like, okay. She's like, okay, well, as long as you know that's what I care about. And he was like, good to know. I've got other things to do. I'll see you later. Or whatever he said. He was like, and then he ran into Sasha. Crazy fuck. Is there anybody else we're talking about today? Jason just kind of popped up. Maxie was crazy. Sasha Britt. That's it. So yeah, guys, if you have stuck with me this long, whoa, thanks for sticking. I've talked too long. Yes, unfortunately, GH demo seems white. Yeah, not gonna go on. Yeah, they definitely know who they try to market to. A lot of these, not just like General Hospital, like the story and the writing of the show, who they trying to write to and who they think they're talking to sometimes, but like the ads, the demographic, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, I don't know where they get these ideas. Like regionally, they pick up. I see online when I'm watching, or like, so whatever market stuff I could see every week. If YNR, GH, what's the other one? Bold and Beautiful still going? There's another one still going. But they, if their ratings are good or not, and they can see the ratings of if that's a woman of this age range or men of this range, which I guess they figured out somehow, figure out that demographic, but have they figured out they're white, black, brown? Because like I'm white facing, but like, you know, I identify Hispanic. Do they count that? Am I a brown person? No. Because like my mom's name is Lori Brown. So do they look at her account? I probably shouldn't have said that out loud. But like, yeah, scratch that. Sorry. It's a very white sounding name, is what I meant to say. It's, you know, anyway, like demographics, you know, not going to go on a tangent about that. I don't know how they get onto the idea of who they think they're marketing to, on these commercials. And on that note, peace to the planet, you guys. Thanks for sticking with me for this long. Hopefully we'll talk soon. Okay. Are you doing a review? Yeah, but I'm ending it right now. Bye.